What is going on, guys? All right, as always, we are brought to you by BUSR Sportsbook. Bet on everything from horse racing to the Masters, which starts tomorrow. Visit busr.com/going for two to sign up, get a welcome bonus, and bet this weekend's NFL games. And for a limited time, if you sign up at busr.com, DM me your account number. You will be entered to win a free Going for Two No Kickers hoodie. So it's going to be given out to a random new account. So please just go there, busur.com/going for two to sign up. With that said, guys, we got a great show today. Let's go ahead and get right to it.
Fantasy football, you dealing with the best. Keep it hype, authentic, this ain't nothing like the rest. With the Armchair Fantasy Show podcast, give advice for all the listeners to improve your stats. Yeah, we live on goingfor2.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, this is what you want. Talking dynasties and daily drafts, and we just getting started, that ain't even the half. Yeah, so go ahead, tell your friends to join. Going for two, cause no one remembers the extra point. Hey, goingfor2.com, the Armchair Fantasy Show.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 180 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We are live right here every Wednesday and Friday night on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. Syndicated on all major podcast networks, and of course, streaming the Going for Two app for iOS and Android. I'm here with my co-host, as always, Ryan Searfoss. Ryan, what's up, man?
Not too much. I think my camera's out. I wasn't sure, but glad to be previewing Week 10, and we made this far through the season. Exciting.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's Week 10 already. I was looking at my league, and so the way I have my league set up is we do 3 games in the beginning of the season, all division games, and then the 3 games at the end of the regular season are all division games. I was like, shit, those start next week. Like, it's crazy to think about that. We're close to the end of the fantasy season already. It's ridiculous.
Do you have the undefeateds left?
I do not. Yeah, I've had a struggle with this COVID and injuries and everything else, man. It's been a rough season, but I'm hoping to make some playoffs in a few of my leagues. What about you? You got any undefeateds left?
You're in the league.
I set you up for that one.
9-0.
Yeah, it's crazy that you're 9-0 in that league too. Is the way that league is set up. It's ridiculous.
But Amari, it's 20 teams. If anyone's listening, and
yeah,
it's bad. It's bad.
It's brutal. It definitely is brutal.
It's a 0-win team on a normal league when you look at the roster.
100% agree. All right, also joining us tonight, who's been very quiet in the background as we kind of bullshitted there for a little bit, Nelson of the DynastyDepot.com. You can find him on Twitter at the Dynasty Depot. Nelson, man, what's up? How are you doing tonight?
Thanks, boys. Thanks a lot for having me on. Very excited to meet you guys, and I appreciate the love, man.
Definitely. So the Dynasty Depot, give us a quick rundown. It's a little bit of a unique idea that you came up with, or I guess your team came up with. Give us an idea of what it's all about.
Pretty cool, man. So we are the industry's first auction site for Dynasty teams, FFPC Dynasty teams. So if you own a team in FFPC, you'll have the ability to put your team up for sale at the end of the season. You also have the ability to buy teams. What we did is we created a marketplace for Dynasty football teams, trying to create action in the offseason. Nobody likes the offseason. Instead of people buying just straight orphan teams off FFPC site, people will be able to make profits. If you're a great drafter, like I'm sure you guys are, you can draft maiden teams. You can actually put your team up for sale without ever playing it down. So it's an auction site to create action in the offseason. We created what we think is really cool is we created a Dynasty Depot leaderboard. So you guys are familiar with FFPC main event, I'm sure, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So say you go on and Jeff, you buy a $77 team for $5. You bid on it, get it for $5. Work the Jeff magic, spin the team around, draft picks, whatever. You go into the season. You'll play that team on the Dynasty Depot leaderboard, meaning say it's a Superflex team. You'll be in the Superflex League with everybody that purchased a team on Dynasty Depot. Your points will transfer weekly from FFPC to the Dynasty Depot. First place, remember you paid $5 for that team. First place will be an FFPC main event team. Second place is a free $500 Dynasty team. So you're actually going to have the opportunity in best ball, standard, superflex, and superflex best ball for anything that you purchase to hit our leaderboard, besides having access to millions and millions, well, hundreds and hundreds of Dynasty teams that are going to be on the market.
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, that is really cool. That's a really cool idea.
My first FFPC league this year. But I really like the site, and there's good competition.
Yeah, definitely. I know one of our regular guests, JD from the Goat District, is, he's on FFPC all the time. He's promoting them. He plays in a ton of leagues over there. So yeah, it's definitely a site to check out for sure. And the competition is pretty top notch over there. So
yeah, I'm supposed to promote more. I was in the Pros versus Joes for that.
What was that? I didn't catch that.
I said I'm in the Pros versus Joes Dynasty.
Gotcha.
With that, some really people in there, like Rich Rebar's in our league. There's some real talent in it.
Nice.
There is. It's funny. I was on Goat District show a week or two ago, and Pat Careen was on, and I don't know if you know Shelly, and it was four of us on the show, and we all noticed we were all in the same Pros versus Joe's league. It was pretty
That's crazy. All right, guys. Let me plug our DFS contest that we got going on. It's goingfor2.com/fight. We're raising money to fight against addiction. As many of you know, I lost my brother-in-law last year to a lifelong battle of heroin. So we are raising money. His anniversary of his death is this Sunday coming up. So basically, go to goingfor2.com/fight. The contest itself is free to join. We just ask that you donate, but it is optional. And we are giving away a trophy to the winner. I think so far we have about 42 signups. We're hoping to get close to 200. We've already surpassed our original goal of $500. We're up now to $570, I believe. So we're making our way to $850 now. So again, guys, goingfor2.com/fight. Make sure you join that contest. All right, let's get to the news and notes.
News and notes from around the league.
News and notes, as always, is brought to you by Society Socks. Bold socks with a social cause. For every pair of socks you buy, you get a free pair, or a free pairs given to charity. Visit mysocietysocks.com/armchair. Use our promo code armchair and get 50% off your first month subscription. All right, we got lots to talk about, lots of the news and notes today. We're going to start with Mr. Christian McCaffrey. Oh, the last time I wrote this down, he was day to day. Now he's week to week and doubtful for this week. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first. Are you worried about Christian McCaffrey the rest of the season?
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel great about it. And if you have him on your team, you paid a pretty penny for it. So don't feel great about it. Hopefully, if you have him, you have Mike Davis. Even though in a lot of cases, that's not how it works. But I'm worried, man. It's different injuries. He looked great this week, and then they just wore him down with, 22 carries or something like that.
Yep.
And his shoulder's beat up from it because he's probably wasn't ready to come back yet, or at least have that full workload. I'm worried. I'm just worried about how they use him now. It's great for fantasy, but longevity-wise, and how much of a beating can he take then?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I heard today that he's going for a second opinion, which that always scares me. You get a second opinion because the first opinion wasn't a good diagnosis. If they say, "Oh yeah, you're fine," you don't go out and get a second opinion. So I'm a little worried about him as well as one of the CMC owners. What about you, Nelson? What are your thoughts on CMC rest of the season? Are you worried about his health?
Well, I am, and what Rye said. I mean, the usage the other day I thought was ridiculous coming back. I mean, listen, I'm in 110 Dynasty leagues. Whew. I own 47 shares of Mike Davis. Okay, I liked Mike Davis when he was in Chicago. If you have Mike Davis right now, it's a lottery ticket, and if you have him on a non-CMC team, it's a real lottery ticket. But I got to think that even when they bring him back in a couple weeks, if they bring him back, the usage, it can't be the same. I mean, he carried the rock way too many times the other day.
Yeah, yep, I agree 100%. I think he got hurt on the last drive as well, which is really frustrating.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the quarterback. Mr. Kyle Allen, season-ending injury to his ankle. I know there wasn't a whole lot of options there as far as fantasy goes, Ryan, but Terry McLaurin obviously is still there. What are your thoughts on McLaurin moving forward with that whole team in general? I mean, Gibson was there. We saw a little bit of some Cam Sims show up with Alex Smith. Any thoughts on the team there with the fantasy options?
I mean, I still like McLaurin. I feel like he's to the point where he's almost quarterback proof. He's produced with just a who's who of scrubs, regardless of the case, and he's their only real target. So nothing changes for me there. Hoping that helps Davis once he's healthy, even though he got banged up. We got those notifications today. But hopefully as a safety blanket that works out. But fantasy-wise, I don't really want many parts of this offense or this team. Until I see some serious change there, which isn't going to be this season, I don't feel great about them.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think in Dynasty, if you can go buy low on some of these guys, maybe you go and do that. Maybe you can get Gibson low. Maybe you can get Terry McLaurin, at a depressed value. But, for redraft purposes, I think I'm avoiding this whole entire offense. Alex Smith is serviceable, but I don't think he gives you any upgrade over Kyle Allen for sure. David Johnson's in the concussion protocol, Nelson, and we as fantasy people, we've been trying to make Duke Johnson a thing forever. Is Duke Johnson a thing? I mean, can he be a thing this week if Johnson is actually out? David Johnson's out.
I think it's a little bit of fool's gold what you saw last week. In my personal opinion, Duke Johnson's had an opportunity many a times, many a place, and hasn't performed. I think he is a third down back. I don't think he can be a full-time back. I think he'll be exposed as a full-time back, and I'm not buying it. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I was one of those dummies that when he got traded to Texans originally, I was like, let me go out and buy this guy, and he burned me, and I've since gotten rid of him, but he's not a thing. I mean, go out there. I think you can get him off waivers. If you got him off waivers, you can probably plug him in if you got some major injuries, but I'm not going to be counting on him for sure.
People are floating him around all over the place, trying to get second-round picks.
Yep.
David Johnson people right now, it's not a move. It's not the right.
There's backs like Duke Johnson who are just not every down backs. They're not going to be the lead back. The lead back gets hurt. Their role does not change.
Yep.
We've seen it with Chris Thompson. We've seen it with Duke Johnson on multiple teams now. Like, he's just a third down back.
Yep.
It's not a bad thing. It's just what he is. He's not going to take over like Mike Davis did.
Yep.
It's a different kind of play.
I'll give you a good comp to that. That when Kenyon Drake, his whole career was more of a third down back, not a carry the rock. Went out to Arizona, carried the rock a ton. Okay, those 3 games, looked like a hero. Comes into this year, and you see who Kenyon Drake really is. Right?
Yep.
He's not a full-time workhorse.
Yep, agreed. All right, Ryan, let's talk about Sam Darnold. Of course, he missed last week, and surprisingly, the Jets played probably their best game of the season with Joe Flacco. Let me ask you this. As an owner of any of the parts with the Jets, first of all, I feel sorry for you. But if you own any of those parts, do you want Sam Darnold back, or are you hoping that Joe Flacco stays?
I mean, this year, I don't think it matters with them at all. What we have is what it is. It's just trash. But there's a lot of good that can happen in the offseason with them team in multiple ways. I mean, Darnold could leave. They could trade him away because they have first overall pick. They're not going to pass Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence there adds value. If they come in last place, hopefully that means they fire Adam Gase. Also uptick. There's a few openings for like teams with older quarterbacks for Sam Darnold to sit and go. He's still incredibly young, even for as far as he is in the league. For being here for 3 years, he's still 23 years old. I mean, he's almost as young as Joe Burrow is, who's a rookie this year. I'm not that worried about him. He had to grow, and with an Adam Gase offense, you don't have that chance because it's vanilla. It doesn't put the best players in the position to succeed, and I don't love it. Any fantasy value from that team now, I guess Rashard Perryman gives you like a flyer just because him and Flacco have that connection from Baltimore that showed up this week. And Mims still has a little bit of upside, but they're no one I'm really comfortable starting.
Yeah, I'm with you with that as well. Ryan, your camera's actually frozen. I don't know if you want to quickly restart your Skype and then join us real quick.
Super. I'll be right back.
All right. Let's move on to Nick Chubb. Of course, he's practicing this week, Nelson. Looks like he's probably going to be activated. Do you think Nick Chubb gets the Christian McCaffrey treatment week 1 where he's just going to jump right in where he left off? Or do you think they kind of...
I don't. I think you're looking at 15 touches and a smarter workload there. I mean, if anything, the McCaffrey thing, so what are you doing? I mean, it makes no sense. You have there. He's gonna get his touches. They'll both get 15 touches in the game, one way or the other, and that'll be fine. I think if he comes back, they'll be smart enough. And listen, he wasn't getting the 30-touch workload when he was healthy.
True.
So, he'll bring him back for about 15 touches. And I think today the report I saw was it was a limited practice, so he hasn't even supposedly gone hard yet, which you probably won't know until Friday. I'd be real wary about starting him this week. It could be more of an 8 to 10 touch thing and ease him back in.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong on that, but I think you're probably right. I actually own Nick Chubb in my main Dynasty League, and I've been waiting. I actually have Christian McCaffrey, too, which really hurts because I'm not going to have him back this week, and now I'm getting Nick Chubb, and he's probably going to be an 8 to 10 touch guy, so I pretty much have to start him. So I'm going to hope that he gets more than 8 to 10, or at least gets into the end zone on one of those 8 to 10 touches for sure.
Yeah, be careful there.
Yeah. Sticking with the running backs, David Montgomery is also in the concussion protocol. And Ryan, I think we got you back. Give me your thoughts on this offense here with the Chicago Bears. Is there any running back that you want besides David Montgomery if he's out?
I'm kind of heartbroken because he's been getting a lot of crap carries and not doing much with it, but it's enough to make him a running back too. But I don't know who's
Ryan Nall. I think is the one who got the most of the carries last week when he went down.
Who I legit have never heard of.
I've only heard of him because I played him in DFS preseason one year, and he got me a touchdown. So that's the only reason why I know that name.
Yeah, dude, I'm not happy about any of it. They weirdly might have to be a passing team because Ryan Nall and Artavius Pierce, I mean, they can get you 3.9 a carry and 8 points, 12 points if they get a touchdown.
Yep.
But I'm not looking for anything more. If I'm starting them, I'm sick about it.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly there in Chicago. I think it's probably the ugliest situation right now at running back that's in the league. All right, that's it for the news and notes. We're going to get into our game previews here really quick, but I wanted to quickly update the Pick'em contest. Of course, some of y'all know me and Ryan have a bet going on that whoever wins the Pick'em contest, we get to pick the other person's background for the podcast for a month. I am currently winning that Pick'em contest by 2 since Ryan had a bad week. He actually forgot to pick the Thursday game, which would have helped him because he had the right team winning.
Yeah.
But I'm up 84 to 82 currently. Ryan did win last year, and I had to change my Twitter avatar for a month to, I don't even remember who it was. It was a kicker, wasn't it? Wasn't it the Ravens kicker or something?
It was your head on Justin Tucker's body.
Yes, and you found
And
one
it
of the
was beautiful.
Yeah, you found one of the worst pictures possible. I think my daughter had dressed me up with like sunglasses and necklaces and everything else, and that's the picture he chose to put me up there. So, hoping to win this year. All right, guys, game previews.
This week's game-by-game previews.
All right, so as you know, if you watched last week's show, we shortened our game previews a little bit. We're not doing every game like we used to. We figure it's past the halfway point now. You know who you're starting, so I'm just picking a few games that have some major question marks. And, of course, teams on bye this week include the Jets, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, and the Falcons. The first game I have on the docket here is the Eagles and the Giants. And my question to you, Ryan.
It's time for this or that.
This or that, rest of season, Travis Fulgham or Darius Slayton?
Dude, this one was hard when I thought about it because I'm not fully bought in on the Fulgham yet just because I know he's done great in the last few weeks, but that offense is on the change. We got Jalen Reagor coming back, Dallas Goedert's coming back, Alshon's healthy, take him as it is, and that takes away from his targets a little bit. And Darius Slayton is their number one no matter who's healthy or who's not. I think it's close, but I'm going to lean towards Slayton. And I think we've been seeing a little bit uptake in his touches or in his targets lately, too, which is something else I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I actually own both of these guys in my main Dynasty League, and I'm actually starting Fulgham this week. I'm hoping that he can continue that hot streak that he's been on, but I'm a little worried about with Alshon Jeffrey practicing in full. Like you mentioned, Jalen Reagor came back actually the week before the bye, and he looked pretty good. Goddard was there last week too. He didn't do a whole lot, but he will be involved, I think, going forward. So I'm a little worried about that. What are your thoughts on these two guys, Nelson?
Well, being I'm a Philly guy, as you can probably see, it's Fulgham for me. Wentz likes him. Okay, Jeffrey coming back this week. I'd be surprised if he plays that much. Maybe in nickel packages. It's Fulgham for me. I guess the big question is, where's Darius Slay going to be?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if he's going to be on Shepard, or is he going to be more on Slayton? Okay. That'll really be the question of what you're trying to get at here.
All right. Good point.
And the one thing is, Slayton's already out targeting Fulgham on a per game basis too.
Yeah.
6'3" to 5'5", and those other guys are coming back.
I think
so that 5'5" slips to 4'5".
Yeah.
And that takes him from this crazy. You have him going back to the mean from normal production for what he's been getting, and then take it down a little bit more. I think he's a good young receiver, but I don't know if he's that dude yet.
All right, good stuff. Nelson, let's go to you. I'm looking at the tight ends this time.
It's time for this or that.
All right, before the podcast, I didn't know that you were a Philly fan, so I'm curious to know what you're going to say about these two guys. But rest of season, do you want Dallas Goedert or do you want Evan Ingram?
For me, it's Goddard, and here's why. Ingram has played for the first time in his career the whole season, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he is averaging 11 fantasy points per game, full PPR. Okay, that qualifies as tight end 12. I'll give you a number right here. Now, you do have to. I must preface this by telling you that I know for a fact Goddard came in the middle of the week off that injury. There was no game plan for him. There was no anything. They got him out there, so that's why he was quiet. The Philly tight ends last year, 146 receptions, 11 touchdowns, 1,523 yards. Oof. That offense is built. That's Goddard and Ertz last year to get combined. The Philly offense is built around the tight ends. I'm looking for Goddard to have a monster second half of the year.
All right, I hope you're correct in that matter, because my two main guys are Higbee and Dallas Goedert, and Higbee's been killing me. So please, Goddard, come back. I need you.
It's a lot of talent. He's got a lot of talent.
He definitely does, and the fact that Ertz is going to be out for at least a few more weeks is definitely going to help his prospects as well. And I think I'm with you. I think Evan Ingram, they tried so many different ways to get him involved, and he just seems to always kind of blunder it. I mean, they've tried on like jet sweeps and reverses and everything else, and he just, I don't know. I don't see it with him. Goddard is killing it when he's healthy. So yeah, give me Goddard as well. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan. Eagles at Giants. Who you got?
I'll be at the Eagles. They're a better overall team. They're getting out there.
All right, Nelson.
I like the Eagles because they're getting healthy.
Yep.
Okay. Some of their linemen are coming back. They're getting some pieces back. They're the defending champion in the division. Wentz, that team rolls one way, rolls on Wentz. If he plays a solid game, the team is playing okay. The quarterback is inconsistent, and that's why they are where they are right now. So after the bye, hopefully they got Wentz straight, cut down on the turnovers to 1 a game instead of 4 a game. I think they might get on a little bit of a roll here.
All right, good stuff. I'm taking Eagles as well, so we can sweep that game. Next game up is the Bucks at the Panthers, and I want to talk about both sides of the ball with both of you. Actually, the Bucks wide receivers and the Panthers wide receivers are kind of an enigma. Where we got, on the Bucks side, you got Godwin, you got you got Mike Evans, and you got Antonio Brown. Of course, 3 really good fantasy receivers, and then on the Panthers side of things, you got DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Robbie Anderson, who's kind of come on into his own. Ryan, let me go to you first on this. As far as these receivers go, if you had to pick one from each side that you want to start for the rest of the season, which of the two are you going to pick on each side?
Golly, it's hard. So I think for the Bucks, I'm gonna go Godwin because I know what his role is, and his role gives him nice floor because he takes those underneath routes. He's more volume based. Where Mike Evans, he's a top tier touchdown threat this year, which is awesome, but it's also not something that we can count on week in, week out, because he's not getting targets. So I'm going to leave Godwin over him and both them over AB, because he shouldn't be in the conversation. In North Carolina, it's painful. This season, I'm going to take Robbie Anderson, and I hate it because I love DJ Moore. He's still having a really good season. He's on pace for 1,100 yards, which I think nobody in the world's noticed.
Yep.
I did the math like 3 times, and I thought I messed up. Because it feels like everyone's acting like he's a bust.
Yep.
Robbie Anderson's playing out of his mind, and he has such that big game potential where he can win you a week. I'm going to lean with him because of that and his connection with Teddy B.
All right. What about you, Nelson? Do you agree with that?
Man, I'm real similar. I mean, the thing with Godwin is what you saw the other night was they couldn't get the ball downfield because there was too much pressure on Brady. So if there's offensive line problems there, that doesn't bode well for Evans, because they even said, and there was somebody came out a couple days ago that there was 5 or 6 routes where Evans was wide open.
Yep.
And he just didn't have the time to get the ball to him. So the shorter, more intermediate routes are going to go to Godwin. I prefer him the rest of the year. I think he has a big second half. And I also agree with Anderson that there's a connection with Teddy B there. I think that Curtis Samuel out of nowhere is taking some DJ Moore stuff away.
Yep.
I don't know where that came from, but it actually looks pretty good. And it's Anderson for me. That's his go-to guy.
Dynasty-wise, it's a huge buy window for DJ Moore.
It is.
Like,
he was a second-round pick a lot of places.
Yep.
Yeah, you can start him as wide receiver 2 right now, be very comfortable with it. And he has a ton of upside. Like, go buy him in Dynasty.
Yep. Agreed 100% with all that. And I agree. I think it is Godwin. Godwin has a problem staying healthy, but I think overall, I think he's still going to be the one getting the targets. And you mentioned about that note that Evans was wide open on 4 or 5 plays, Nelson. It was actually Coach Arians himself that pointed that out, that Evans was open and Brady just didn't find him or couldn't have time to get to him. So it's definitely something that's going to be a problem if Brady's not used to getting hit. That's the thing. In New England, it was like quick hits, get out of his hand. They couldn't sack him. But I think in Tampa Bay, because of Arians' offense, they're down the field throwing the ball. Brady's getting hit, and he doesn't know what to do with it. I think he's a little bit shook up about it. So I do think that it's going to be Godwin. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan. Who you got? Bucks at Panthers.
I'm going the Bucks. I think we're blowing last week's loss out of proportion, where they're now a flop team. They're a good football team. They have talent on both sides of the ball. And Brady's still a superior quarterback, so I'm going to go with the Bucks.
All right. What about you, Nelson?
I'm going to go the other way here. I think that the Panthers, what they showed in KC last week, Matt Rule has them come into play every week. I think Tampa got beat up the other night. They literally got beat up physically and mentally the other night. I don't think they bounced back that strong. I think they're playing the wrong team to bounce back strong against. I kind of like Panthers here.
All right, Panthers enter an upset. I like it. I think I'm still leaning Bucks. I can see definitely an upset happening. Don't get me wrong. I could see that being a thing. It's a little bit harder to pick than it would have been 2 weeks ago. But, yeah, I do think the Bucks still find a way to pull this one out and get this victory. Chargers at Dolphins. And I want to talk about some of the ugliest backfields that we could potentially see in fantasy this week. Some of these guys are some hot waiver wire commodities. I do think that some of them are getting healthy, so maybe we won't see these guys on the field. But we got Kalen Ballage. We got Salvan Ahmed. I don't even know how to pronounce his first name. Of course, Jordan Howard is still there. We got Matt Breida getting healthy. Ryan, just talk about these 4 guys, and is there any one of them that you're interested in at all?
No. Not really. Anybody who's listened to the show and has heard my name Kalen Ballage come out of my mouth knows it's never a good thing. I think he is the worst vision of any running back I've ever watched tape on. Salvan Ahmed, I had to go back to my draft profile for him. He's a nice receiving back, but it's still a limited work role. And then, Howard and Breida, it's a mess, man. I don't want any of it.
Yeah.
None of these guys are going to leave you happy if you start them.
Yeah, agreed. And I think Kyle just threw another name in the mix too. I forgot about DeAndre Washington. He had to wait that 2 weeks for the COVID protocol to go back. He'll be active this week as well.
Like, I'm not as heavy DFS as you guys, but I wouldn't mess with any of these guys, even in that.
Yeah, I'm with you. What about you, Nelson? Any thoughts on any of these 4 guys?
Man, I think this is an important show that you're letting me guest on, and I don't want to waste any of your audience's time talking about any of these 4 guys. How do you like that?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's go ahead and pick this game, Nelson. Give me your winner. Chargers at Dolphins. Who you got?
Dolphins.
Ryan?
I like the way they're playing. Absolutely.
I've got the Dolphins, and we didn't mention that QB matchup's super fun this week.
Good
with
point.
Tua and Herbert.
Good point.
I'm really excited about that.
Yep, good point. And I'm taking Dolphins as well. Surprisingly, at 5-3, looking really good. I thought the move to 2 was going to be a bad move, but it's turning out to be actually a really good move. So, give me the Dolphins.
I can't believe they're 5-3.
It's crazy to think that they're 5-3. All right, we got to hurry this along. We're running a little bit long as usual. Bengals at Steelers.
It's time for this or that.
Nelson, I'm going to go to you on this one. Start this week. Joe Mixon, assuming he plays, which I've heard today that he might not play, or James Conner. Of course, Mixon's playing against the Steelers. It's a tough run defense. Conner has been sort of up and down all season playing the Bengals. Who do you want?
Well, I don't think Mixon's going to play in this game. And I like Conner anyway. I think that as much as he's probably the toughest guy to handicap, when to put him in, when to pull him out.
Yep.
This is a good week for him. I'm looking for $110, maybe 2 touchdowns this week.
Nice, I like it. And you use the word handicap. It's because he's always injured. That's definitely a good word to use. All right, Ryan, let's pick this game. Bengals at Steelers. Anybody going Bengals here? Let's just do it that way. Anybody going Bengals?
I'm going to pick the Bengals upset this week to catch up a game on you.
All right.
Steelers look shaky against some really bad quarterback play. That letdown's coming, man.
All right. Taking against. All right.
And Joe Burrow's got to get to him.
Taking a stand, getting desperate. I like it. Seahawks at Rams, and we got 4 receivers that I want you just to rank them really quick, Ryan. These are 4 really good receivers. You got Cooper Kupp, you got Robert Woods, you got Metcalf, you got Lockett. Rank those 4 guys rest of season.
Okay, I'm glad you said rest of season because I was about to panic and change everything. Metcalf, Woods, Lockett, Kupp. I think Metcalf's a just elite wide receiver right now. Like, he's in that. We were on Dynasty Draft Room last night talking about it, and he's borderline top 5 Dynasty asset wide receiver. He's unstoppable right now. But so he's my number 1 the rest of the year. I think Kupp and Woods, you can really go either way. They're interchangeable from game to game, but it's still really good production. And then Lockett's right below them for me, just because of his boomer bust ability, and he doesn't get as many targets as Metcalf there. But even with him at the bottom, they're all just fantastic options.
Yep, definitely. What about you, Nelson? Rank those 4 guys.
Well, if you're asking me for this game, I think it could be a Lockett week this week.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of feeling him this week, so he would be 1 for me.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey's killed wide receiver ones.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's one of the only corners big enough to hang with DK.
Metcalf. Yep.
Right, and I'm figuring there's going to be plenty of points in this game. It feels like a really big Lockett game for me. Metcalf will get his because he's just going to get his. And Woods and Kupp, they're really interchangeable for me also. They're going to get you 15 to 20 points this week for sure. Probably good chance both scores, but this could be one of those monster Lockett weeks this week.
All right, I love it. Let's just pick this game really quick. No analysis. Let's just pick your team. Seahawks at Rams. Who you got, Ryan?
Seahawks.
Nelson, who you got?
I'm gonna go the other way here. I'm gonna go with the Rams this week.
All right. I'm taking the Seahawks as well. Let's move into our last game before the break. Ravens at Patriots. And Ryan, I just want to talk to you because you know you're the Ravens fan. Talk about the passing game here. It's been struggling. Marquise Brown came out and said that he's not getting enough targets, and then he didn't get enough targets this past game either. I thought maybe they'd grease the squeaky wheel, but they definitely did not. So talk about this a little bit.
So they interviewed Lamar today, actually, and he was talking about that the other team was calling out their plays at the line of scrimmage. Like, it's consistently happened all season. Their offense has gotten, for averaging 20 points a game, they've gotten fairly vanilla, and I don't trust Hollywood right now. I don't think the production's there. It's few and far between, and I love Andrews, but teams are just keying on him and double covering him. So he's moving down a little bit too. I'm slightly worried about it, passing game wise, fantasy wise. As a team perspective, not as much, but like still a little bit. But it's something that needs worked out because it's a two-pronged attack and teams are just locking it on their guys.
Yep, I agree 100% there. I think I'm a little bit worried about that offense, both for the NFL reasons and for fantasy reasons for sure. Nelson.
It's time for this or that.
This or that. Rest of season, do you prefer Marquise Brown, who we just spoke about struggling a little bit, or Jacoby Myers, who's been really good the past couple of weeks, surprisingly?
I'm going Marquise Brown. I think that pure talent with him and Lamar, they're going to have to figure this out. Yeah. I mean, they do get Mark Ingram into 3 points that you can get if you put him in your lineup this week. They might get that back this week. But they're going to have to start pushing the ball. They're going to – people are sitting on the running game with them, and they're making Lamar beat them. And I think he's got the talent. It's been a struggle, but, we're only halfway through here. I think the second half of the season, you're going to see that, and that would mean Marquise Brown probably is a pretty good second half of the season.
All right, good stuff. Usually here we take a commercial break. Oh, that's what we got to pick this game. Ryan, I'm sure you got the Ravens. Yeah. Nelson, who you got for your pick in this game? Nelson, who you got? Ravens at Patriots?
I'm going Ravens. It could be a shutout, actually.
All right, I'm going Ravens as well.
God, I love a shutout.
We're going to skip our commercial break tonight so that we can get everything in this week. We're going to go ahead and just jump right in. So trade deadlines for fantasy are fast approaching. We're going to talk about some guys you can target that might be a little bit cheaper that you can get for the second half of the season. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first. Give me one of your buy low trade targets.
I'm going on for a guy who's kind of always been overlooked, but a lot of it was injury related this year. It's Chris Carson. He was on pace to have his most efficient season to date. He's averaging 4.9 a pop on his carries. He already had more receiving touchdowns than any other year he's been in the league. And that offense is just so good. He's going to get red zone opportunities. When he's in the roster, he's far and away the best back there. He showed he could carry that offense when they didn't have the elite passing game. Now they're scoring tons of points. He's somebody you can get on the cheap. I might have got him off you this week. But he's such a good value for somebody who can get you borderline RB1 with that production on a week-to-week basis once he comes back.
Yeah, I like that call a lot, actually. I do think he can have a good second half. If he can just stay healthy, stay on the field, he's going to be an amazing back. And, yeah, you're right. I mean, owners are probably fed up right now. He's been injured, out of the lineup. You can probably get him on the cheap. Nelson, who you got for one of your buy low trade targets?
Well, it's not a dead buy low, but it's somebody that it's a name that you can get, and I think is also in for a great second half. Is Jarvis Landry?
Nice.
He's not the big name, so you don't have to give up a ton. But if you notice last week, he saw 32% of the targets last week, and that's going to continue. The guy's just good at football, and he's getting healthy. Coming off a bye, I like him to have a really nice run here.
I like it. I like that call because, I know Ryan's a big fan of Landry as well.
Yeah, and he always gets targets when OBJ's not there.
Yep.
He does.
Like he gets fed with OBJ out.
Yep, I like it. All right, Ryan, let's go back. Give me another one of your buy low targets.
Christian Kirk. He's slowly on the season sneaking up to hit his production to that wide receiver 3 range. He's been targeted 8 times the last 2 games. He's averaging like 16 something reception. So he's had big play potential. Larry Fitz has been used more or less as a tight end at the wide receiver position because they just spread the ball around.
Yep.
And Kirk's been their guy with the big plays because teams are doubling D-Hop, which you have to do. So he's wide open, and he got, as a wide receiver one for the team last year, he was seeing more coverage and there's kind of more consistencies. Now that he's carved out that role in being the Robin to D-Hop's Batman, it's fantastic for fantasy. Like, you're great starting him in the flex position or a wide receiver too if you're in a pinch. And coming down the playoff run while people get hurt or teams are hurt and you're just trying to get a healthy roster out there, he's starting to give you nice production without the name values and the others.
Yeah, I like it because he is being overshadowed a little bit by D-Hop. And I think 2 weeks ago, they kept trying to throw that deep ball to Andy Isabella, and they just couldn't connect. And then second half, they connected twice with Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is that deep threat guy, so I like that call a lot.
And Andy Isabella's not that great.
Yeah, exactly. Nelson, give us one more of your buy low trade targets.
I'm going to give you the bargain basement guy that you might be able to get for a kicker. Okay? So there's a guy that plays on the West Coast, when healthy, gets 8 targets a game, a touchdown machine, a really good rookie quarterback. Nobody talks about Mike Williams, but when he's healthy, he's getting 8 targets a game with a quarterback that throws the ball downfield and looks for him. You can get him for next to nothing. Real good guy to have on your bench, and if you need to plug him in, real serviceable right now.
I own a lot of Mike Williams, so I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, I love that call, and that quarterback is a big armed quarterback, and it's just a matter of time
down the field, brother.
Yep, that's a good call there. All right, let's do one more. Ryan, give us one more of your buy low trade targets.
So I kind of cheated on that because I don't know if it's really a buy low. I think it's buying him at a value for the very, very last chance you can. That's TJ Hawkinson. Like, this year's tight end landscape's not as good as we expected, and nobody's really talking about him.
Yep.
But he's been an absolute stud this year. He's up there, he's in that tier below Kelsey right now. He scored 5 of 8 games on the season. He's had no games with less than 4 targets. He's only had less than 39 yards twice. He scored in both those games. He's their red zone role. He's found that niche with Galladay, Marvin Jones battling injuries. He's a borderline top 3 tight end right now, and you can still get him for cheaper than that.
I agree.
Yeah, I like that.
Like, we're talking about Mark Andrews, who I freaking love, but I would probably trade Mark Andrews for him straight up.
Oof.
And you could get Hawkinson plus something for Andrews still, even though Hawkinson's production's been far more consistent on the season.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I actually just recently bought Hawkinson myself. I had to give up George Kittle for him, but I got a bunch more things. I think I got Gallup and one more piece and a draft pick for Hawkinson. But I like the trade that worked out for me pretty well. Nelson, give us one more buy low trade target.
I'll give you another guy also down in the bottom basement kind of guy. Really starting to mesh with his quarterback. Number 1 receiver just came back to be Batman. He's as good a Robin as there is. Manuel Sanders also looks really good to me right now.
Yeah.
Not getting peppered with targets, getting 5 or 6 targets a game because MT's back, but MT opens the field for him, and last 3 or 4 games, Breeze is looking for him. He's looking for him also down in the red zone. He's looking for him. Buy low, again, you can get him for nothing. Extremely serviceable right now.
Yep, I like that call a lot because, yeah, I mean, MT does kind of open things up. And I know as Dynasty players want to make Traquan Smith a thing, but he's not a thing.
Nope.
He's not a thing. I think Emmanuel Sanders is the guy that you want there, so I agree 100%. All right, guys, it's time for, we hadn't done this in a while, a little stash or trash.
Stash or trash.
All right, I'm just gonna give you some names. We'll just go one and then another. That way we can get through these guys pretty quick. And Ryan, I'm gonna go to you first because this is your boy and it's my boy too. I pumped him up in the off season as well, but he's killing us lately. Mr. Wide Receiver Miles Boykins. What are your thoughts on him? Stash or trash?
I'm trashing him. I mean, Baltimore's wide receiving quarters is gonna look different next year. Like, we talked about other wide receivers moving from a wide receiver 1 to a wide receiver 2 and it benefiting them. That's kind of what I want to see out of Baltimore with Hollywood Brown. That kind of leaves Boykins not long for this world. Like, he's somebody who could land somewhere else and maybe produce, but by that time you're picking him off free agency and not just holding on to him forever. So I'm out on him. It's just not there.
Yeah, and I think his
connection's not there with Lamar, and like they came up together. If they would have hit, it would have hit.
Yep, I agree.
So I'm out on him.
Yeah, I'm out on Miles Boykins as well. I still have him in my main Dynasty League, hoping that something happens. But I mean, his snap percentage has decreased each of the last couple of games. He's getting phased out. He's in there basically to block nowadays. So yeah, no thanks on Miles Boykins.
He's a great blocker.
He is a great blocker. Unfortunately, he plays receiver. All right, this is a guy we just talked about a little bit. Traquan Smith, Nelson, stash or trash?
I'm out on him also. I don't like him. He's had a couple good games. I think that's really been a factor of Breeze. I don't think he has the talent. He's trash for me.
Yep, I'm with you as well. I think he's become very touchdown dependent. He gets those touchdown games, and that's makes him.
He's had some opportunities, Jeff. Right? Yeah. He has, and that's kind of how I base things. If you have the opportunities, like you go back to what we talked about earlier with Fulgham, right? Got an opportunity. Looks like the real deal. Traquan Smith's been that opportunity with a much better quarterback, much better system. It hasn't produced. He's trash for me.
Yep, I'm trashing him as well. All right, Ryan, back to you. Tight end David Njoku, stash or trash?
I'm going to stash him. I got a soft spot for that, for David Njoku, because when he is healthy, which is few and far between, he's flash. I just don't think he's long for the Browns offense. Like, he's going to be somebody, he's in that last roster spot. I'm waiting for him to go because he doesn't fit what they're doing. They want a tight end who can block and do everything. He's not that. He's just an overgrown wide receiver. He needs to find a team that suits him. His first free agency's coming up, and I could guarantee you it ain't going to be with Cleveland. Like, he's going to go somewhere where he fits in. And tight ends take longer to break out, so you can be a little bit more patient with them than other positions. So I'm going to stash Njoku still.
All right. Still hold on to Njoku. I like it because I do think if he goes somewhere else, he could be valuable. But, yeah, I think his injury history has been a little worrying, but I think he could definitely be one of those late-blooming tight ends somewhere else. All right, we'll do a couple more here. Let me pull one out of here. Let's see. Let's go with running back Darwin Thompson. And he's been kind of that forgotten man. They all hyped him up last year as the in the Chiefs offense, they can do anything. He's been buried there, Nelson. What are your thoughts on Darwin Thompson for the Chiefs?
It's trash. There's no path. If there's no path, there's no need to keep him around, right? Yep. He looked like a okay back on a great team in a great system. Didn't look special to me. Looked like trash to me.
Yeah, I think there's a telling moment. I believe it was at the end of last year when Darwin Thompson got some run, and I think it was a Monday night game, and he ran the wrong route, and Mahomes threw the pass to him anyway. Like, it was a timing route, and he ran the wrong way, and Mahomes just gave him that glare like, that's it, you're done, son. Like, it was just like, that's it. That's why he's not in there. So, yeah, Darwin Thompson's trash for me as well. All right, let's do one more, Ryan. Let me go with let's go with the quarterback here. Let's go with Mr. Dwayne Haskins, who likely won't be with the Washington football team next year. Stash or trash for Dwayne Haskins?
If it's, God, I want to say it was a super flex side stash, but I just have this gut feeling he's about to get the Josh Rosen treatment. Like, he's raw, but he doesn't. He's raw. It could be very good, but I don't know if the team's have the patience to do it with teams who need quarterbacks. If the team does get it, it's going to be like the Drew Brees with Jameis Winston backing him up. It's going to be a situation that he's going to sit and learn. It could be 2 years or an injury before we see him happen. And I don't know if I want to wait for that for somebody who may be mediocre.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Of course, I live here in Washington, D.C., and I hear all the scuttlebutt about Mr. Haskins, and they're all out on him as well. You know,
I like him coming out, and I like the skill set. I don't know if he's long for this world right now.
They like the skill set coming out.
Yeah, the skill set's there. It's just,
I didn't like the skill set coming out.
no.
No, well, there was talk about the lack of preparation at Ohio State. There was lack of preparation talk from other teammates in Washington. You know, I think it's a perfect example of a kid that didn't play a lot of football, got paid, and that was good enough for him. Didn't make himself better. Doesn't look like he can make himself better. Doesn't have elite talent. He needs to make himself better. He didn't do that. He's going to be out of this league real soon.
All right. I like it. All right, it's time for some listener questions. I need to get a drop for listener questions. I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I keep forgetting to do it. But we only got 2 this week. First one is from at PD Dirks on Twitter, and he wants to know time to move on from DJ Moore. And then I responded with depends on who you're moving on to. He mentioned Devontae Parker. So Ryan, DJ Moore or Devontae Parker? This is a redraft league.
I still think DJ Moore. I mean, Devontae Parker's been good for Devontae Parker.
Okay.
But, I mean, DJ Moore still has the upside. He's having a good enough floor this year. We're still at least getting double-digit fantasy points. Like, his targets aren't where you want him to be, but he's still getting a nice average per target and average per catch. I think he still has more upside than Parker. And I still don't know if we know who's going to be the guy with Tua yet. So I'm going to DJ Moore just because it's a little bit safer, even though it's not what we want.
All right. Nelson, you agree with that?
Yeah, it's DJ Moore for me also. You know, he's an elite talent, just not getting the ball enough right now, and that'd be my guy right there.
All right. Then we have a trade question here. This is a kind of a big one, so let me see if I can break this down here. So we got Jimmy Graham, tight end, and 2, and he said they were going to be later round, 2 second-round draft picks for next year for Zach Moss. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first. This is a tough one for me. I'm kind of torn a little bit, but I'm curious to your thoughts. 2 late second-round picks, Jimmy Graham for Zach Moss.
Honestly, I'm probably taking the picks there because I'm taking the upside. Like, if I'm a contender, I know I'm not going to be starting Zach Moss on a contender team right now. Like, if you're in a chance to win championship, he ain't your guy.
Yep.
And if you're rebuilding, he's not a player I really believed in coming out. And I'd rather take the 2 extra dart throws for the draft when he was a second himself. And, I mean, Jimmy Graham's fine for this year. Yeah, I'm not excited over the moon for him, but he's a solid piece for some value right now.
Yeah, I think he was just kind of a throw-in there to kind of make the trade work. What about you, Nelson? Jimmy Graham, 2 late second-round picks for Zach Moss. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm probably going to go to the Zach Moss side. Ryan used my favorite term of dart throws. I like to see what I'm throwing the dart at there. And at least I've seen enough Moss to know there is some talent there. The usage is a problem with the split with Singletary, but he's still serviceable. He seems to be scoring, 10, 12, 13 points a game. Had that one touchdown, big touchdown game. He had 20 points. That's a lot to get out of a very late second round pick. That dart throw's tough area right there. I'll go with the known talent there.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Nelson, because, I think if these were 2 higher-end... I mean, I know you can't really predict that necessarily, but if they were 2 higher-end second-round picks, then I would definitely think I'd make this trade. But the fact that they're lower-end second-round picks, or at least projected to be that, I think I will go Zach Moss, because we have seen a little bit of upside with him. We've seen him, when he's healthy, he can do some good things. Singletary is there, obviously, but I think that Zach Moss is going to be more of a long-term answer, and it could end up being one of those splits, but I think that it could be a positive split for those 2 guys. So, yeah, I'm taking Zach Moss as well. All right, it's time for Forgotten Fantasy Player.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, Nelson, give us your Forgotten Fantasy Player this week.
So, man... Are you talking about this week or forever?
Forever. Retired player, someone that's been forgotten about.
Quick story here. So I draft out in Vegas in FFPC main events every year. I always draft on Thursday before the weekend's game. So the players you draft Thursday, you get their points. So, drafting on Friday. If you draft on Friday, you get the Thursday night points.
Gotcha.
There was a year in 2012, and I'm not sure if you're going to remember this. The opening game was Dallas and the Giants, and there was a guy that nobody ever heard of that put, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Wide
32
receiver.
points up. Okay, his stat line from that night was 8, 1, 14, and 2 for 31 points. He was drafted at the end of the first round. His name is Kevin Ogletree.
Yes.
Changed the whole draft around because people were taking him in the first round to secure the victory for the week in the points. He did nothing the rest of his career, but that night he was a hero.
I love it, and I knew exactly as soon as you said the game, I was like, I know exactly who he's going with. Ogletree is almost like he's like the epitome of a forgotten fantasy player because you're right, he had that one game and he was all the hype, and then actually after that he did absolutely
walking into
nothing.
The draft room on Friday morning, everybody was saying, "Where's Ogletree going? Where's Ogletree going?"
Yep.
Boom, 1.12, he was off the board right there.
Wow,
And that was
wow.
it.
That is crazy to think because I don't think I've ever drafted a fantasy team after the season had started. I don't think I've ever done that, but that'd be very interesting.
All the big main event stuff in Vegas is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Makes sense.
So the game, obviously, there's a Thursday night game, obviously, and that's what happens. So you actually pick the points, and it changes things around kind of dramatically. If you remember a few years back, Peyton Manning had that monster, like 60-point Thursday night game to open the season.
I played against him a couple times.
Right, so he was going 1.3 or something right there.
Right,
so
right.
it changes it around. It's a little twist, but Kevin Ogletree is my guy.
Nice. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, we made it within an hour. I was a little worried that we wouldn't make it, but we did definitely make it. So let's go around the room really quick. Obviously, plug your site one more time. Nelson, give us your Twitter handle where we can find you at and anything else you're working on.
Yep, DynastyDepot.com. Memberships are open right now. If you guys or any of your audience goes on and wants to get a membership to start buying and selling Dynasty teams at auction, you can use the promo code Charter20. Okay, that will get you texting service, meaning every time a new team is posted, it'll pop up on your phone. If you want to bid on it, you go ahead and bid on it. So it's DynastyDepot.com, Charter20, and you can follow us at the Dynasty Depot, at the Dynasty Depot.
All right.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Ryan.
Find me on Twitter at Ryan Foss at Foss534. Find me here Wednesday nights. And find me at the Dynasty Draft Room. We do our podcast Tuesday nights there, so back-to-backs. But follow me around, and I'll be putting out some starting on that draft content very soon. I'm very excited for it.
Yes, definitely. We're looking forward to the off season. Believe it or not, it is crazy to think that it's getting to that point. But as always, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. Please visit the goingfor2.com/fight page and sign up for our DFS contest. And again, busr.com/goingfor2. If you sign up and send me your account number, you'll be entered to win a free No Kickers hoodie from Going for Two. All right, guys. For Nelson, for Ryan, I am Jeff. We will see y'all next week.